All right, all right, all right. Welcome in Toilets to Titles, episode number 66. This is our Dynasty Rankings release party. It's going to be a banger. The gang's all here, but not really. It's just me and a buddy from Fusion FFB. I'll be bringing him in shortly. But before I do that, I have some things I need to go over. Need to let everybody know where you can find the show. The show is over at Toilets to Titles on the Twitter. I am on the Twitter at Coach Sheps. Ways you can listen to the show. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube. We are on Podbean. We are on Spotify. And then on Facebook, we have two groups, a Toilets Titles group and a group called When a Family Breaks, which is we buy, sell, trade sports cards and memorabilia. And that's probably going to be picking up. It's probably going to be pretty active as we get into August, September. That's football card season, man. That's football card season. All right. So if you are listening, however you're listening, it would be greatly appreciated. If you went to our YouTube channel, hit the like button on some past episodes, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell. So every time we go live, you get alerted. You know when we're going live, and you can check in and be a part of the episode. Come in the comments and leave some questions, whatever, and we go through that as we go through the episodes, and you can be a part of the episode. You can hear your name read or spoken, rather, live on the air. All right. Also, if you could go to Apple Podcasts, throw us a 5-star review. That would be greatly appreciated. That really would. And that's a way you can get into our Frankenstank League. So if you're a listener of the show, you know a little bit about Frankenstank. If you are a new listener to the show, Frankenstank is our listener league. We did it last year. Joshua, who's actually going to be coming in here shortly, he's in the league. It's a 14-team league. Last year it was. This year we're doing 3 divisions, 12-team divisions. It's going to be 3 copies of each player. It's vampire-style format with some twists. I believe we have 19 of 36 spots filled. And again, you get in by leaving us a 5-star review. And that also gives you a chance at a free entry, which is a $25 value. There's other ways to get in, all right? We have a new Patreon. It's patreon.com/toilets to titles. Tier 1 is $3 a month. It gets you into our group chat, which is on WhatsApp. Tier 2 is $5 a month. That actually gets you into Frankenstank, gets you into the group chat, and also gets you early access to our waiver wire episodes in season. And then Tier 3 is $10 per month, one-on-one roster analysis from any member of the T2T crew. So it's the titles. You let us know what roster you send it to whoever you want to in the group. We'll analyze it for you. Also, that gets you free entry, which is a $25 value into our Frankenstank League group chat, early access to the waiver wire. So that's how you can get into the Frankenstank. I suggest you do. There's a lot of great analysts in here. Oh, Nate's just poking his head in here. He's going to start out 6-0 again and probably end up winning it. Well, Nate, good luck. If you want to prove Nate wrong, get in Frankenstank so you can kick his butt, send him home early with no trophy. Good day, sir. Yeah, that's it. So, all right. I think that's pretty much it for the formalities. Let's get into it. Let's bring the guest on. It's Joshua from FusionFFB.com at FusionFFB. Joshua, what is happening, my man? For some reason, I'm not seeing you. I do not hear you. I do not see you. Oh, there he is. What's happening?
I'm back.
All right.
I don't know what's going on. It's just me and you hanging out here tonight. Let's get into some dynasty ranks.
Yeah, man, there's some ghosts in the machine. Nate came in here. Nate's just messing around, all right? I said some bad things about Nate, and now he's in the background pulling some strings and trying to make me look bad.
Yeah, I don't know. He's probably did he sign in on the back end of your thing without you knowing?
Yeah, I think that's what he did. He probably saw he's got the StreamYard access. He probably signed in, and he's probably going to put little blurbs at the bottom that say nasty things about me. Nate, if you're thinking about doing that, that's not cool, man. You're not a team player if you're doing stuff like that.
Don't give him any ideas.
No, yeah. Well. Anyway, if you guys are frequent listeners of the show, you know Joshua. Joshua is at generally_aware on the Twitter. Again, he's at FusionFFB. Joshua has a spreadsheet for that. You know that. He's got a spreadsheet for everything. And Joshua is the guy who last year our ranks were on FusionFFB.com, and this year they're going to be over there as well. It's been a lot of fun working with them, and I know we gave them a little more work this year because we got a few more team members, so it went from just being the 4 of us. Now there's probably about 8 or 9 of us. So Joshua, why don't you just discuss, how long you've been doing the rankings, how the process has changed, how it's changed now, having kind of a collaborative effort. So why don't you discuss that?
Well, honestly, we're doing dynasty ranks. So I've done redraft preseason projections going on 3 years. And so I often base my own player draft ranks off of that with a little bit of yeah, Nate, no one wants to know that you're taking a bath.
Yeah, he's bathing his
Because I
baby. He's bathing
well,
his
I
baby.
assume he's responsible for himself too, but
Yeah, that is.
okay. So but I in preseason redraft ranks, you can take some risks. Guys you think they're going to be worth maybe reaching on a little bit in case they hit high ceiling, low floor, things like that. So I don't go straight by the projection numbers. But this is what dynasty ranks. So it's a little bit different because I'm not just thinking about the coming season. I got to think
Right.
about future value too. Now, I don't really play dynasty with like a 3 year window. Some people do that or even longer. I think in like an 18-month window, not even 2 seasons. I want to make sure that they're good for me now and that they're going to be valuable next off season. But I don't even care if they don't make it to that next season. I just need them to be valuable next off season.
Right.
So that's kind of how I approach it. I doing these ranks, I kind of took it from a redraft, no, sorry, a startup perspective. So like how would I rank these players if I was
Right.
doing a startup? Now, if you already have a dynasty league and you're looking to make some trades, these ranks might give you a sense of how I feel about player versus player, but it's going to depend on your team at that point. If you're building, if you're going for it, whether you're looking for that longer term or shorter term value. So these ranks are probably going to be most applicable to startups.
Okay, so I mean, and also now we are in there as well, so it's averaged out. So you have your personal ranks, who you're looking at about an 18-month window. Some of the guys in there are looking at a 3-year window. I'm win now, but I tend to look about 2 years down the road, 2 to 3 years down the road. But I definitely understand about wanting that value next off season. But I also, as far as if I'm out, I want guys that have value. I don't play in any leagues with trade deadlines. So I want guys that their value is peaking in the playoff run or right before the playoff run, especially if they're older. So if I'm buying a guy in a dynasty startup who is, at the end of the rope, right? He's probably maybe got 1 or 2 years left. I want to make sure that player is peaking at the end of the season so he can either carry me into the playoffs. So then he's really getting me value, or I could trade him for multiple assets and rebuild around him, because there's always a way to spin it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're always building for something. You're not just sitting there stagnant. And if you are sitting there stagnant, there's people in everybody's league that do sit there stagnant. There's some people who play it like it's redraft, and those are the guys who tend to stay flat and stay put. And there is a lot of luck involved with fantasy football and dynasty
Hey,
fantasy football.
we need those guys to fund the
Yeah,
leagues though. So
yeah, yeah.
don't bad talk them too much.
Yeah. Well, and what I'm saying is, so there is luck involved, but those guys can't get lucky enough. Like, you need to put yourself in a position to at least succeed if you get lucky. If you're not doing anything, then the ball isn't even rolling. How can you gain momentum? So don't be that guy. Or if you're just contributing to the pot, then like Joshua said, we do need you. So keep coming back. All right. So so the rankings. So next week, just so everybody knows, I think we're going to do it next week. We'll talk off air. We'll release it on Twitter, but we do have the redraft rankings coming as well. We're going to do a redraft mock. So it's going to be within the next week or two. We'll do an episode releasing those, and then we'll do an episode where we actually do a live redraft mock draft. So 2 weeks ago, we did a dynasty mock, I believe. So that you can find that on YouTube. There's probably episode 64. And then also the Down Under Dynasty crew, they broke down that mock draft on DU Toilets and Titles DUD episode number 9, I believe. So that's on our YouTube channel and our Podbean channel. So you can see these rankings today as we discuss them, and you can go back about 2 weeks ago to see how some of us drafted, and you can see if we actually walk the walk. It's one thing to say, I like this player, but then it's another thing to actually take them, when you're in a position where you got to make that choice. It's sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I think I value a guy a certain way, and then I'm put in a position where I have to pick him and I can't. And then that makes me, all right, now I got to change everything. All right, so I'm going to pull up on here now. I'm going to pull up this. So if you're watching live, if you're not watching live, you can go to our YouTube channel at about 9 minutes in and come see this. So now we have the Dynasty ranks. are going to be popping up. Oh, we have the Frito Bandito.
Yeah.
Let me bring Rich in. Let me bring Rich in. So, guys, Rich was going to be on this evening, but Rich is like, he's a boss man. And this boss man got called out. He had to leave his family. They had to set him up in a hotel room because shit was getting out of control, and he had to reel shit in. And not only did he have to do that, he got called out about an hour ago. The dude's in the middle of dinner, gets called out, got called out, took care of business, and now he's coming on air. So let me bring him in. The Frito Bandito. What is cooking, Rich?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, hell yeah, we can hear you.
All right, so I'm live direct from the plant itself and everything. Just got unloaded a truck. So, hey, let's get at this.
You unloaded a truck. Aliens? Are you at Area 51 right now? Because you kind of sound. I'm looking at the background.
That.
What's that?
We'll keep that strictly confidential.
Strictly confidential, all right? Because if you are watching live, Rich, I don't know how to do this, but can I want to just put up just Rich. How do I do that? I don't know.
Click right on him.
All right. I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. And now I just
it's your best looking setup yet, Rich.
Yeah. Hey. Rich is out. He's in the middle of New Mexico. Roswell.
I'm like dripping sweat right now, man.
All right, Rich. Hey, I mean, if you got things to do, go take care of business. I don't want to pull you away from sorting out those aliens this evening.
No, we just got done ripping them all apart, so we're good.
All right, cool. All right, so Rich, we basically went through the intro, man. All right, go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry.
No, go finish yours.
I was just gonna say we went through the intro. We kind of talked about the process. Joshua said he looks at about an 18-month window when he's looking at his rankings. Do you have a little bit of your process you would like to discuss before we start actually discussing these rankings?
So when I do my ranking as far as Dynasty, I'm looking at like a 3 to 4 year window and everything. So that's where I break mine down when I'm looking at process as far as ranking.
All right. So he's looking 3 to 4 year window. I'm in about a 2-year window. And Joshua's in about an 18-year window. So everybody's different. Everybody's got different styles, and that's what makes this thing beautiful. So let's go ahead.
18-year window?
What's that?
Did you say 18-year window?
18. Yeah.
I know, I caught that. No, what you're looking at right here.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, man.
The second time around, you said year. It was in between all you guys' years. We're just looking at, this is fusionffb.com. So that's where you're going to go to get these ranks. So I wanted to show the steps of how they'll actually get to it. So fusionffb.com. Right now it's up at the top because it's the newest thing. But hey, more stuff's going to come out eventually. Just go here to player ranks. You can see what's there before. You'll have redraft ranks eventually combined with all of these guys and me. But you can click right here in Dynasty ranks, open this up. And I have the images here right on the page you can look at, but you can also go to the actual sheet, and that'll pull up all this here. So that's how I've got what we've got here. I'm gonna actually go back because I think this is a little bit better view.
I'm gonna try to zoom in on this so I can see.
Yep.
Perfect. So, all right, we're gonna start with quarterbacks. You want to read off our top 10 here, and then after reading off the top 10, we could see who's the highest and who's the lowest on some of these guys.
So like John said, there's actually 7 guys here: Justin, John, Nate, Ben, and Matt, and Rich, who's here with us, and me. And that just averages out, and then it sorts it out to the ranking. So this ranking is just purely an average. We have number 1, Patrick Mahomes, then Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson at 3, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott 4, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Russell Wilson at 8, Trevor Lawrence, and Aaron Rodgers. Deshaun Watson still hanging out there at 11, and Trey Lance at 12. I'll give you a top 12 for QB1s.
I like it. So I think Aaron Rodgers at 10 overall, I think the resurgence, like, I don't know if you'd call it resurgence, just the older quarterback is kind of hot right now, with the way Brady's been down, at the end of his career. I think that's making a lot of people a lot more comfortable with Rodgers. Not that Rodgers is old, but he's getting there, right? He's probably on his last legs, or what you would think normally is your last legs. So the highest guy on Aaron Rodgers is Nate, who has him at 6, and he's a Packers fan, so rightfully so. He gets to see him every Sunday, so maybe he's got a little more of an idea of what Rodgers is going to be. And then the lowest we have on him is Matt, and he's at 19. So there's a 13 player difference between those two. What do you guys think about Aaron Rodgers at 10? Is he worth being in a, say we're in a Superflex league, Dynasty, and is he worth being your QB1, or are you more comfortable with him as your second selection? Josh, you can start.
I'm okay with him being my QB1. We're talking Superflex, and
Yeah.
I mean, if we were doing combined ranks, it probably would be. These are all just positional, so it doesn't really matter. But just thinking about if it was a Superflex, I can go chase a young guy with the second one is kind of what I'm thinking basically. But I have that baseline of value that I think he's still going to be producing for a couple of years, even if he moves on from Green Bay. I think he's still going to be playing. You're right. You're right on. The window for the quarterback lifetime is wider. It's getting bigger. That's a reflection of just I don't know, modern training, but also the rules, and these quarterbacks are taking less of a beating. The league is protecting them more, so it just makes sense they're going to last longer.
I like it. Rich, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, to me, Rodgers, he is still a number one QB. He's going to be your first one that you're going to want. And like I said, if especially in Superflex, like Josh was saying, he's a good, solid base first QB, and you could actually draft later one of those rookie QBs and everything to be that maybe the second back QB, or maybe your third QB and everything. But to me, still Rodgers is going to produce like he's a top 5 QB at least for the next 3 years, I would believe, and everything, depending on the situation he's in. I still think he's going to be in Green Bay, so that's my thoughts on it.
And if he goes to Denver, like boom goes the dynamite with Judy, Sutton, Fant, Javante. So now it's interesting to me, like what a changing of the guard. Rodgers is 10 and Trevor Lawrence is 9. You know, it's like you can't, those are completely different situations, but yet they're right next to each other. It's just crazy to me how they could be such different situations, but yet the value is so close. But what we're going to see from them this season, honestly, I have Rodgers 13 and Lawrence 10. And if given the choice, you know, again, because I want to win now, I'm probably taking Rodgers over Trevor Lawrence, just because I'm scared of Lawrence out there in Jacksonville. And I know I'm repeating myself. If you've been listening to the show, I've been saying that over and over and over again, but I'm definitely scared. But Ben and Matt, Toilets and Titles Down Under Dynasty, they have Lawrence. Ben has him at 4. Matt has him at 5. But I want to move down to another younger quarterback, Jalen Hurts, who is 17th overall. Josh, you have him at 8. You're highest on him out of everybody on the rankings. The next is Matt, who has him at 10. After that, 16 is Justin. I have him at 19. I think Rich has him at about 22. So it just goes up a little bit. So sell us on Jalen Hurts.
Well, this is where that 18-month window comes into play, and I'm playing to win, and I'm playing. This is fantasy football, by the way. We're trying to get fantasy points. And I think Jalen Hurts does that. I mean, unless you're in, look, we're doing Scott Fishbowl and everything right now, and there's a lot of negatives for bad completion rate and turnovers in that scoring. But typically that's not the case. And so he's just racking up points on the ground. It's like a mini Lamar Jackson out there is really what I'm predicting. So having him at 8 is almost low, because he could be up into 5 in your normal PPR leagues that are giving you a full, 0.1 per rushing yard. He could be up there in a little bit of a mini Lamar Jackson season. I don't think he's going to be quite there. Some people are saying he's a better passer than Lamar Jackson, but still, it's that kind of similar style, and I expect similar fantasy points.
All right, and then also both of you guys are pretty high on Ryan Tannehill, who I like. I have him at 16, but both of you have him at 9. So, Rich, why don't you go ahead and start? Give us a little something on Ryan Tannehill, why you have him at your 9th quarterback overall.
Yeah, so Tannehill, after coming off of last year, I mean, he's shown that he's a lot more capable than he was when he was in Miami with the weapons around him. And then on top of that, a good solid season there. Nothing's changing about that offense. Nothing's changing about the team at all. Just adding more weapons to the team. Now, look, yeah, I get Julio came over and everything, and look, he's actually going to favor the whole offense where he's going to draw more of that coverage and everything. So that opens up a lot more for Tannehill. You're gonna try to cover all receivers, then trying to do Tannehill. I mean, not Tannehill. I'm sorry, Henry. That's gonna open up more room for even Tannehill to run more. So
And
just
he's a good
in that,
athlete. He played wide receiver in college, so Tannehill can move.
yes, he can and stuff. I mean, you saw it last year. I think what he had like 8 rushing touchdowns and stuff like that. If I'm correct, I'm just throwing a number out there, but he had a good run, some rushing touchdowns and everything. And just the spread of that offense and everything with the weapons they have is going to open up more for him. And I mean, he's becoming that true pocket quarterback too, and stuff like that, and doesn't have to run, but he can when he does.
That's it. That's it. I think I kind of compare him to. So they also have a very good offensive line. He's a guy I would love to have as my quarterback too, which is, we're not on running backs yet, but David Montgomery is a guy I love having. And there's a big chat going on in the Toilets and Titles group chat right now about David Montgomery. I stirred the pot a little bit. You all know that I'm a big fan of his, but David Montgomery is a guy that I love having as my running back too. High end, high upside. I think he's pretty consistent. He's pretty steady, and his ceiling, I think he's got a high floor, which his average is going to be, 8 to 10 points a week in PPR, but he can have those boom games. And I think with Ryan Tannehill, he's a guy I love having as my second quarterback. He's cheap. Well, I don't know if he's going to be as cheap this season, but in the last 2 years, he's been cheap and he's been steady Eddie. So I love that. I do. Now, another player I want to talk about is Deshaun Watson. We're all pretty much very close on Deshaun Watson. I haven't looked at this like with a fine-tooth comb, but he's one player that we're all not very far off on. Justin has him at 11. I have him at 12. Nate has him at 12. Ben at 14. Matt at 11. Rich at 11. And Josh at 13. So we're all really close. Joshua, what are your thoughts on Deshaun Watson going forward?
Well, I think we know that there's a strong likelihood that he's not even playing this season, because even if it gets settled, I mean, you can read up on it. There's a lot of different perspectives, even from experts. But even if it settles, he could get put on. We've seen the commissioner's exempt list be put into use before, so there's a bunch of reasons why he's not going to be playing. So you're basically drafting a quarterback for 2022. So when I'm drafting him, I'm not even drafting him. So maybe I shouldn't have him at this rank, but I just feel like this is where I value him. Even I'm at 13, right? So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking that I don't want to take him 13th, but I will value him as the 13th. And so if I can get value on that and stash him, maybe I'm drafting a team that's a little bit more than an 18-month window viewed, then I'll go for it. Or maybe, because some people like doing a productive struggle. I typically don't. Every time it seems like I try doing that, everyone else in the league is doing it, and so I end up just falling back into win now. But yeah, so I would be open to taking it as a value to just stash and cash it in later, even when it's just news that he's going to be coming back, and now you can sell him as a top 6 quarterback.
Right. Yeah, I'm not paying like QB1 for him, but I'm not selling him. You know what? I'm not selling at all right now unless I'm blown away, just because I'm not going to sell him low. But again, on the other hand, if I'm going to buy him, I'm want to buy him from somebody that is looking to ship him, is looking to get rid of him, is looking to get some value. All right, so let's talk here. I saw some notes, Joshua. You want to talk about why me and you are right, and we can add Matt there about Dak. We're talking about Dak Prescott. I believe Matt has him at 3. Everybody else has him 6 or below, 6 or 7. So Dak Prescott, why are we right, and why is everybody else wrong?
I'm not gonna give Matt credit. That's a lukewarm take. Either be high on him or be down with the other guys at 6 and 7. Come on,
Right.
man, take a stand. Look, I get it. You might be worried for a couple weeks here at the beginning of the season, but we've seen what he can do. He's done it consistently throughout his career, and that offense has only got better. He's only got his big contract, and the team's only more incentivized to build around him than ever. What's changing? He's still young. It is close between him and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, obviously. And some people really like Kyler Murray this year, too. I just think that the volume he affords you, along with the consistent rushing, he doesn't rush for a ton of yards, but he does consistently rush, and he gets those touchdowns too.
Yeah.
He'll pull it in and run in for the touchdown when it makes sense, and he's good at that. He doesn't, run in and dive and break his leg like Carson Wentz. So, I just want him on my team if I can get him, especially like I said, talking about Watson. Like, I like also ranking these guys. Maybe I should have said this in my process. I like ranking these guys in a place where it's going to create clear values for me when I'm in a draft, because I can clearly see, well, 4 other quarterbacks just went ahead of Dak, and he's here for me, and he's my quarterback too. Take him.
All right. And then before we move on to running backs, I know we talked about Jalen Hurts already. Bathroom board bet. What do you think about this one, Joshua? I say Zach Wilson outscores Jalen Hurts this season. You want to make that the bet, or you have anything else in mind?
Zach Wilson versus Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
I accept.
All right. Let me write this down, and then if you want to go ahead and bring up the running backs and start the running back discussion.
Hey, can I say one thing on the Watson? Here's the thing I like about Watson and stuff. You could draft him later right now in a startup dynasty, like round 8 or 9, and stash him. And then next year, when all this buzz is about to talk about him coming back and everything, you could actually trade him for more value than next year, just holding on to him, and you're going to get value out of that alone.
Yep, I like it. I think that's a smart way, practical way to go about it. All right, running backs. Running backs are they fluctuate. Running backs tend to fluctuate. Running back value goes up and down and up and down. And right now it seems everybody is buying running backs because wide receivers are falling off of trees. So, Joshua, why don't you read the top 10 where we have them, these running backs dynasty?
All right, number 1, we got Christian McCaffrey still. Number 2, Jonathan Taylor. Number 3, we actually have a tie, even in the average of 4.3, of Saquon Barkley and Alvin Kamara. So then we skip to 5, Dalvin Cook. 6, Nick Chubb, Antonio Gibson, Derrick Henry, Ezekiel Elliott, and DeAndre Swift at 10.
And then 11 is Akers. Mixon is 12. I know you got to make a phone call. So you wanna just make this phone call real quick? I know it's about.
I could. I was gonna let us get into it, but yeah, I mean.
Well, let's start it off. Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
There's somebody here on the rankings who has him 10th overall. So while you're dialing the phone number, I'm gonna just say I have him 4. Justin has him 6. Ben has him 3. Matt has him 3. Rich has him 2, and Josh has him 2. So put it on speaker here. Joshua is.
I'm not gonna let them all hear his voicemail here.
True.
He's not supposed to pick up. Hopefully he doesn't. He's too busy watching a live stream.
Yeah.
But
so you haven't figured it out.
Talk to this guy.
If you haven't figured it out, he's calling Nate. So
I'm gonna give Nate a call here and see why in the world he has Saquon Barkley at 10. I gotta give this guy a piece of my mind here.
Looking forward.
Yeah, we all know how voicemails works. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey Nate, it's Josh, Fusion Fantasy Football. Josh, yeah. Look, I know you didn't give me your number, but I promised John I would raise CeeDee Lamb in my ranks if he gave me your number. So look, we need to talk about Saquon Barkley. I don't know what he did to you. I don't know. Maybe you were sitting on the toilet. You were a little constipated when you were working on your ranks, and you like typed it's probably supposed to be a 1. Maybe the 0 wasn't supposed to be there. Do you not realize he's still below 24 years old? He's already been a top, 3 running back. He has the passing ability, the rushing ability, huge runs, big runs consistently. That's a consistent metric. Like, what are you not paying? Did you think we were like, this is dynasty ranks? I mean, even redraft, you maybe would be a little worried about his ACL, I suppose. I mean, maybe that makes sense, but this is dynasty. He's only 24. Nate, what are you doing? Call me back.
Call me back. Call me back. So Nate just got a piece of your mind. Let's list who he has ahead of Barkley. He's got Zeke 9th. He has Aaron Jones 8th. And then he has Gibson 7. What he's got 6? Henry 6. Cook 5. Kamara 4. Where's his third? He has Chubb 3. McCaffrey 2. And Jonathan Taylor 1. So there's a few guys he could jump on there, but Nate's staying with it. So maybe Nate will come up with the bathroom bet. So Nate, if you are watching, go ahead and look at Josh's rankings. Let us know who you think will finish higher than Saquon Barkley, and you guys can get on the bathroom board. So enough about Saquon Barkley. Let's move on here. I do want to say, I know you brought up Antonio Gibson. Who's drinking the Gibson Kool-Aid? I have him at 8. Justin has him at 9. Nate 7. Ben 7. And then Matt, Rich, Josh have them all either 10 or lower. So who would you say, Rich, I haven't given you a chance to talk in a while. So why don't you discuss your thoughts on Antonio Gibson? And then Joshua, you can let me know who you think needs to stop sipping the Kool-Aid.
Now, look, Gibson, he had a great year last year as a rookie and stuff, but I want to see more before I start moving him up with those other caliber running backs I have ahead of him. He has Fitzpatrick there this year with him and stuff like that, and it's gonna open up. He's gonna be great, but he's still dealing with a toe injury, and I want to see more from him. I want to see another year of it before I even put him up higher. I mean, don't get me wrong, 10's good. I mean, he's right there in the top 10 and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, but I want to see another year before I rank him higher.
Now, are you thinking that with Fitzpatrick at the helm, they're going to be more pass happy? They're going to be more vertical, so maybe that's going to take away from the ground game a little bit and take away from some of the dump offs. Is that part of your thought process?
Well, I think what's going to happen is they're going to try to stick to that run game, and when they fall behind and Fitz starts throwing interceptions and everything and goes back to his old ways, it's going to take him out of the game. Now, yeah, he's going to get receptions and everything, but like I said, I think they're going to be more behind and stuff like that. Maybe that works to his advantage and everything. It just, like I said, I'm not down on him. I just want to see more out of him.
Okay. My thought process is I think their defense might be the best in the NFL this season. You know, they're going to have to play consistently. Like we look at what the Bucs did last year. Their linebackers, like their pass rush was good. Their D lineman was good. Their safeties were good. Their corners played well. But their linebackers were phenomenal. So we know the Washington football team has a great D-line. They have solid safeties. They have a good pair of cornerbacks now. Let's see what their linebackers can do. They just brought in Jamin Davis. I can't think of the other cat's name. Cole Holcomb they have, who is, I think he's a try-hard. But now he doesn't have to be their LB1. He's their LB2. So I think if Jamin Davis can come in and play well, their defense might be the best in the NFL. So with the defense like that, I think they're going to be playing ball control, but when you have a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't know if that's really in his DNA. So I think knowing football and knowing the type of football I think they should play, being a very good defense, I think they should run the football. And I think that helps Antonio Gibson. But also they have Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I don't know if that's really in him. But if he wants to win, if he wants to go to the playoffs and play meaningful football, then he needs to realize, in order to win games, you got to use what you got. And what you got is a great defense, solid running game, a possession receiver in Terry McLaurin, a scat guy in Curtis Samuel who you can give the ball to and hopefully get a few explosive plays a game. So we'll see. I think the Washington football team is a very interesting team this season. Joshua, who do you think needs to stop drinking the Antonio Gibson Kool-Aid?
Well, look, I have him at 13, and like Rich is at 10. I mean, that's borderline running back 1. This is not an insult. It's not a slight. We like him. He's good. We have him right up there with all of the other, sophomore breakouts. I have him behind Swift, but I mean, all those guys, Swift. I'm not seeing. Okay, there's Akers, like Dobbins, CEH. Like these are all good running backs that are all in that same vicinity. The problem I have with quite going all the way to 6 and 7 on Gibson is that there's just a lot of other good players. We're getting a lot of volume, and volume is what we're not sure about with Gibson. We're also not sure about that offense and if he's going to be getting the touchdowns. Fitz, you're absolutely right. Fitz has not been great for receiving backs. I know everyone was really excited about the number of receptions going out to the running backs, a lot to McKissick though last year, and people are kind of transferring that over to Gibson this year. I'm not sure there's even going to be as many passes to all of the running backs total, let alone just Antonio Gibson. That offense was bad. The quarterbacks were not great. Those quarterbacks all are good at dumping off to running backs. And McKissick got a lot of it. That benefited him. But I'm not just penciling in Gibson to get like half of those. I don't even think there's going to be as many of them at all. So there's just a lot of things. I think he's going to get more work. He's good. This is still a boost in his ranking. I'm just not quite going above some of these other solid guys. See, to have him at 7, you've got to have him. I mean, I thought I was a little down on Zeke when I said he's my RB, like 8, 9. I thought that was low on Zeke, but I mean, that's maybe more of a redraft thought, but he's Antonio Gibson. You got to have him ahead of Zeke, ahead of. I'm trying to look through here. Even Josh Jacobs and Najee Harris and J.K. Dobbins. These other good young running backs who are going to be getting the volume much more surely.
All right. Oh, I do see 2 running backs in here are pretty our Aussie friends, Ben and Matt from Toilets and Titles down to the Dynasty. Very high on J.K. Dobbins and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Josh, you're kind of close to them on the Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Matt has them at 6. Ben has them at 7. You have them at 10. I have them at 20. Justin has them at 21. Nate has them at 17. And Rich has them at 22. So it seems we are all off the Clyde Edwards-Helaire bandwagon. Joshua, go ahead and defend Clyde Edwards-Helaire and tell us why he is a top 10 running back in Dynasty.
Because he's just got to keep doing what he did last year, which was perfectly fine. He gets the volume. It's good offense. I think some of the goal line, red zone kind of concerns are a little bit, a little off base. It's a little bit bad luck. It's a lot of probably some bad play calls. It seemed like they were running like right into guys. Nobody was going to score some of those touchdown runs that they had him run. But I just don't have a problem with him being valued as a borderline running back 1 because he's going to get points. All he has to do is slightly improve from last year, and that's where he's going to end up.
So why are you so high on him? You have him at 10. You have Dobbins at 19, which again, Dobbins, I have him at 16. So I'm pretty close to you on Dobbins. But tell me why, Dobbins, on the other hand, isn't going to succeed. I know he's in a different situation. I know he has a different quarterback. I know there's a different backfield there. But tell us why, Dobbins as the second-year running back isn't a buy here.
Less receiving work. I think that's an area that Clyde Edwards can improve and continue to improve in this coming season. That's one area that I think they anticipated him being more involved as a rookie. And maybe that won't happen. But like I said, even just as running back, he only has to improve a little bit. But Dobbins is splitting a little bit of time. A lot of people seem to be really high on Gus Edwards, and I like him. But either way, he's still going to be taking work away, and that offense doesn't throw the ball to the running backs, at least not to J.K. Dobbins. And so that kind of just hurts his value in a PPR setting, which I was thinking of when I was doing this.
All right, and then
if
Rich,
it was a standard league, he'd probably jump up into the low teens.
Okay, I understand. I get that. That makes sense. Now, Rich, Austin Eckler, you and Justin have him at 12. I have him at 18. Nate has him at 26. Ben at 20. Matt 24. Josh has him at 17. So he is your final RB1. So sell us on Austin Eckler in Dynasty going forward.
He is a receiving back. He's going to be in a division where they're always going to be in high scoring games. If you're playing against Mahomes, you're playing against Denver. I mean, just that whole division itself and stuff, they're going to be all high scoring games. And Herbert's shown that. Look, when Eckler was in there and stuff, he did drop him off. I wish he didn't get hurt. That's the only thing that's kind of holding him back. But if he can stay healthy and everything, he could even be higher than that. He ain't going to get the runs as much as everybody thinks he's going to be. It's going to be more of that receiving back coming out of the backfield for him. And I think Herbert's going to love that when he's in there full time and 100% healthy.
So we could see a lot of points when they're trying to play catch up there. Also, a lot of garbage time if they start trailing, just to move the ball down there. Joshua, you said you seem like you want to say something to Eckler. Go ahead.
Well, Rich, how does that fit into like your 3-4 year window? I'm just curious because he is a little bit of older now. He's got a year or two left on that contract extension. So I'm just curious how that fits.
No, that's a good question. But I don't know. Maybe he doesn't fit in that 3-4 year window and stuff. But like I said, even in these next 2 years, and I just see him, if he could stay healthy, he could be just up there with McCaffrey kind of caliber. He just got to stay healthy and stuff. And they're always going to be in those games when they're always just like what Coach said. They're going to be scoring to catch up, a lot of garbage time. I just don't see anybody else there if he's healthy taking too much away from him. They didn't prove it last year when he was out.
And for a running back 12, having him on more of a 2-year window is fine. Running backs, I think the lifespan of a running back is pretty short to begin with. So if you can expect 2 years out of him, 2 years of running back 1 numbers, sign me up for that. Sign me up for that. I do want to say that Javonte Williams, I have him at 11. No one else has him any higher than 16. So I think I need to defend myself. Javonte Williams, I think he's a running back 1. I think Melvin Gordon's basic. I think that offense is going to be high flying. I don't think defenses are going to be able to stack the box. And I just think he's going into a good situation. I don't think the quarterback's very good there right now, so he might need to lean on the run game. Now, if they do go out and they do get Aaron Rodgers, I also think that helps him because now they totally can't stack the box, and I think that Javonte Williams can get it done. So I think Javonte Williams is going to slot in as the running back 1 in Denver day 1. I really don't think – I think we're going to be seeing like 70-30 as far as touches go. And I'll take that. I know kind of goes against what Rich was saying about that division. That division is going to be scoring a lot of points, and if that's the case, they might have to be passing the ball a lot. And if they're passing the ball a lot, Javonte Williams, I don't know how well he's going to handle that role of catching the ball out of the backfield. He did split time last year in North Carolina, him and Michael Carter. But I just think he's a good back. I had him as my second back coming out. I had him over Travis Etienne. So, Joshua, you unmuted. Looks like you wanted to come in and say something. Go ahead.
No, I think this is one I would probably be updating the next time I go through it. I probably would have him probably above, really close to Chris Carson, who I have it at 20, but I probably would now be taking him ahead of like Miles Sanders, really close to that J.K. Dobbins. So it's not a big move up, but it is a bit of a tier jump for me because I do think he actually is looking to have a better and better chance of being the starter sooner in the season. Now, I have him as my rookie running back too for the same reasons. I think a lot of people are pointing to ETN right now as being like the classic running back that's going to win you the season. But I think Javonte was more likely that guy for me because he has the chance to actually take it over completely. I think ETN's going to be stuck in a committee the entire season.
Right.
But that could be sooner than later for Javonte. And speaking of changing ranks, check the chat here. We have breaking news. I can't maybe see if I can show it here, but we do have an update from Nate. Saquon Barkley has made it all the way to running back 6.
I thought he was rankings. Nate, you should have said it with your chest and put him at 0. You should have just cut him out completely. Don't let.
At least he's ahead of Gibson now, so that's good.
Yeah, don't let them bully you, man. You should have thrown in a fat 0 and then just signed off. That would have been excellent. So we do have, man, that's live. We got live updates going on right now. This is the stuff that you'd be missing if you weren't tuning in this week. It's great rankings discussion, live updates. Another one before we move on to wide receivers, because I do think wide receivers are going to be a lot of fun. I have Javonte Williams at 11. I have David Montgomery as my running back 12. I think he's a high-end running back 2, low-end running back 1. I think he's very consistent, and I think what he did last year was great. Now you add in Justin Fields with the threat for that zone read. Now a linebacker is going to have to freeze. The defensive end is going to have to freeze to worry about Justin Fields coming out of the backfield. That's going to just free up David Montgomery. He's not the fastest back, but he's quick. He's more quick than he is fast. He's very elusive. He's tough. He breaks that first tackle. I've been saying about him since he was in college. I saw him break more tackles and make more defenders miss in the backfield at Iowa State than most running backs were doing, past the line of scrimmage. Like, he had to do it in the backfield. I don't think, he had a really good situation in Chicago his first 2 years, and I think this season should be the best situation he's had since he's got there. I don't know if he can necessarily reproduce what he did last year, but I don't think he'll be too far from it, and I also think it'll be easier for him because of the help he's going to have with Justin Fields when Justin Fields does come in. So unless anyone has anything to say or any bathroom board bets to throw out for running backs, let's move on to the wide receivers. All right, Joshua, go ahead and read those top 12 wide receivers.
All right, top 12. Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown, Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf at 4, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, Calvin Ridley at 7, CeeDee Lamb, DeAndre Hopkins, Chris Godwin at 10, Michael Thomas, and Terry McLaurin, and DJ Moore tied at 12.
Now, I'm going to need you to update the rankings because I did my end of the bargain, and I gave you Nate's phone number. So you got to move CeeDee Lamb up. That was part of the deal, and I don't see any change. You still have him at 12. So I guess later. I don't want to mess up the feed here.
I mean, these are the images that are on the website, so I have to double check the actual worksheet a little bit later.
Okay, great. All right,
See if I can make that happen.
Man, this is these rankings. We're all pretty close, but there's not as many. What's the term? Overall, like, we have a few guys who are real close on this one player, or they all have the same number. I don't think there's many players that we all, like, a lot of us have ranked the same. Like, the values are, again, similar, close, but they're not. Like, each person has a different one, a different 2. So look at Tyreek Hill. Justin has him at 2. I have him at 1. Nate has him at 4. Ben has him at 5. Matt 5. Rich 2. Josh 1. So I guess that we do have a few double ups, but it's different. And I think that's because wide receiver right now is huge. Like, the value at wide receiver is huge. There's so many guys who could be the wide receiver 1 this year. There's so many guys that we could project to be the wide receiver 1 next year. Because wide receivers tend to have a longer lifespan than running backs. And there's a bunch of guys who are just coming into their own, or we are expecting to come into their own over the next few years. And then you have an alpha like Jamar Chase, who was drafted this season, who some people are already projecting to be a wide receiver 1. So there's a lot of upside in the wide receivers this year and going forward. So let's talk about DK Metcalf. I think he's one that, he's as high as 3. Ben and Matt have him at 3. Josh, you have him at 4. I have him at 8. Rich has him at 4. Nate at 10. So, Josh, I'll let you go. Or actually, Rich, I'm going to pass it to you. Why don't you tell me why DK Metcalf is the wide receiver 4 for you going forward?
Well, like last year, look, he showed last year that next step that he took from the first year. And as the years progress and stuff like that, he's just going to be more dominant and stuff. And hopefully he becomes, as Tyler Lockett moves on, he becomes more of that possessional receiver too, where he's not always going deep or taking those out routes, down the field. And he gets more of that, I want to say 15 yards and under and everything. As he starts getting more of that, and as big as he is, he's going to break away from those defensive backs and everything. So he just set up with Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson's just going to keep on playing too for another 4 or 5 years, like Rodgers and Brady. I mean, he's just going to be there. So I mean, they also mentioned that they're going to open up the offensive game and everything, the passing game and stuff for Wilson this year. You know, that's what he wants to do and stuff like that. And if they do open it up, it's just going to be more potential for him.
All right, I like it. Now, here I want to make 2 bathroom board bets. So you guys tell me how you feel about this. So, Rich, I'm going to talk to you first, okay? So I have Justin Jefferson 4th. You have him 14th, okay? I have DK Metcalf 8th. You have him 4th. What do you say about Justin Jefferson versus DK Metcalf this season? I have the Jefferson side. You have the DK Metcalf side.
Write it up. That's an easy win for me.
I'm going to write it up. So then you, while I write this up, you tell me why Justin Jefferson's at wide receiver 14. So
for me, look, he had a great season, rookie season, okay? Got to show me consistency, okay? He's a thin receiver. He ain't a huge bit. I mean, he's got to build up and everything. He's just one of the other things too. All my rookies, even from last year and this year, I never rank them high and stuff like that until I see more from them. I want to see consistency. Yeah, look, look what everybody was talking about him last year. You know, nobody was really as high on him as they end up producing. Okay, look, he had a great season. I give him that, but I want to see it another year and stuff, because when I'm looking at receivers, when I'm doing Dynasty, I'm always in that win mode now, and I want proven 5-6 year receivers that are always going to be there and produce consistency. When he shows me that this year, he will move up my ranks too and everything. He's a great receiver, but like I said, Thielen's going to end up moving on. He ain't going to be much longer. So then that's going to be more people covering going towards Jefferson. Heck, you're going to see that this year with Thielen there. Thielen might have a better year than Jefferson if they end up rolling all that coverage over to Jefferson all the time. Okay. All right. I could see that. So, Joshua, here is my proposal. I have A.J. Brown 2nd overall. You have him 7th. I have Metcalf 8th. You have him 4th. What do you say about this season only? I know this is a Dynasty episode, but it's hard to do bathroom board bets, you know, thinking further down the road. What do you think about my A.J. Brown versus your DK Metcalf this season?
I mean, I'll say yes.
Well, is there a better one?
It's 3 spots. It's kind of like, you know, like you were saying, it's so deep. In any 10 of these guys can go up or down 7 spots, and we won't blink an eye. We won't bat an eye. It's kind of whatever here. I would put. We got to talk about CeeDee Lamb here at some point too.
I might take Chase. I might take Chase over DK. I'd do that, even though I'm selling myself a little short because I'm moving 2 slots down. I have DK at 8. I have Chase at 10, but it's close enough that if you're not comfortable with the A.J. Brown one, I would do Chase. Or we could do them both. Throw them both up there.
No, I'll do the Brown and Metcalf. Okay. I really like Brown. I just I'm not sure he's ever going to get up into like the top 1 or 2 or 3, but I'm very comfortable with him being that consistent, you know, floating around 6 area. So that's kind of why I had him there. I was hoping for like a DeAndre Hopkins season from him if they didn't get Julio, and they probably would have bumped up 1 or 2 spots there, at least in redraft. But no, I'll do that. DK Brown, let's go. All
right, so CeeDee Lamb. Justin has him at 17, Nate at 9, Ben has him at 2, Matt at 1, I have him 3, and then Rich and Josh, you guys have him at 12. So I'll talk about CeeDee Lamb, why I am so high on CeeDee Lamb. First and foremost, you know, I don't think Amari Cooper is an alpha. I think Amari Cooper's great. I think he's a phenomenal route runner. I think he's explosive. You know, he gets the job. Like, I think Amari Cooper is very good. But you know, in a wide receiver room where you have a CeeDee Lamb and you have an Amari Cooper, I think CeeDee Lamb is going to rise to the top. You know, Amari Cooper, you know, if you look back on his career, he tends to have weeks, stretches where he doesn't do anything, and it's mostly away games. You know, he's a little timid, he's a little quiet, and I think that has to do with the fact that, again, he's not an alpha. But again, I'm not saying he's a bad wide receiver. He's phenomenal, but I think he is going to play better with the pressure off him. I think CeeDee Lamb is going to demand, you know, a little more help from defenses, and I think that's going to make Amari Cooper's job easier. But now I think him and Cooper could score very similar this season. I do think it's even possible Cooper outscores Lamb, even though I don't think it's likely. But then now going forward after this season, the Cowboys can get out of Amari Cooper's contract after this year, save themselves a lot of money, re-sign Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup can come on and be their wide receiver too. There's also a chance that they let Michael Gallup walk, keep Cooper and Lamb. That's also likely, but I do think that they might want to save some of that money that they would be spending on Cooper and possibly invest it in Gallup. Not as much, probably about half as much, because I think they're pretty comfortable with him, and then maybe go ahead and draft another wide receiver next year. So I think the team going forward is going to build around CeeDee Lamb, and then now not just that, it's not just about the wide receiver core. Now you look at Dak, Dak you've already seen. I have him ranked as my second quarterback. They were on fire. Lamb put up pretty solid numbers as a rookie without Dak Prescott throwing him the football. Ben DiNucci, Andy Dalton, just a bunch of, garbage, basically. And I think him and Dak, they should connect going into year two. It looked like he's put on a little bit of size. And I don't want to make this the CeeDee Lamb hour, but I definitely think he's an ascending player in an offense that's going to throw the ball a lot. He can do a lot with the ball in his hands. He's a great receiver. He's got great hands. He's a great route runner. And I really like the outlook of his future.
You got this one, Rich?
Yeah, man. Look, it's splitting hairs when you're in that range and stuff like that. My only thing is you got Cooper, man, what's the third one? Gallup.
Gallup.
Look, they're all gonna cannibalize each other and stuff. And yeah, future wise, what you're talking about, yeah,
for 1 year. For 1 year.
Yeah, but I mean, he is the future and everything. But just like I said, I want to see consistency and stuff. I just never rank rookies and second year receivers, running backs higher than the veterans and everything. I do got him ranked over Cooper and stuff like that because, like I said, he is the future. They're gonna be throwing. I never usually draft Cowboy players when I'm fantasy wise. It just goes against my religion. But last year was the first year where I saw what they were doing with Zach and bringing everybody in. They're going to be a high scoring offense. But you're going to have those games where you play against Washington and that defense is going to shut them down and everything. And you're going to have those games and everything. Look, the NFC, they have tough defenses and everything. So there're going to be some high scoring games and there's going to be some low scoring games. Then there's going to be games where Cooper gets everything. Then there's going to be games where Lamb gets everything. And then I just think this year, and I got Zeke at 3 overall. I think with Zach being back and that drive for them to go, they got a good 3 years out of him still left in him, and they're gonna use a lot.
Okay, all right. So I like that, Josh. We have anything to add to that?
I mean, he might have like a Chris Godwin kind of high volume wide receiver 2 season in him, but look, if they're going to get rid of Amari Cooper and start taking weapons away, then I'm going to have to start lowering Dak. The reason I have him that high,
there's no chance both Gallup and Cooper are back next year. No chance.
I get it, but they need to do something, and I think that's going to be good for Lamb, but it is still going to limit him somewhat. Again, it's not a slight to him saying 12. There's just guys I like. I've seen it from already, and again, I'm playing. I want to see it this next year, so I don't care about you're saying in 2 years, but I'm not that worried about it.
Justin really doesn't like him. Justin has him at 17, so he's if we had him on, he'd really go on there and tell us about him. All right, how about DJ Moore? He's a guy who I think needs to be discussed. He was, a lot of fantasy Twitter was really high on him. It seems people are falling a little bit. I have him at 13. Justin has him at 16. Nate 8. Ben 6. Matt 15. Rich 15. And then Josh, you're at 9 on DJ Moore. So discuss DJ Moore, where you have him in your rankings and why you have him there.
I think he's a really good receiver. He's put up high numbers, not the splashy, flashy fantasy numbers we would have maybe hoped in previous seasons, but with bad quarterbacks and with more competition around him, he's been putting up solid, 1,000-yard kind of season. So this one is a little bit more of a gamble, admittedly. And so, like, I mean, this whole tier, I mean, we were talking about A.J. Brown, and A.J. Brown is in a tier with, like, Jefferson and Ridley that you can move them around. And it's same thing here for me between Moore and Lamb. It's a whole nother tier with Godwin that you can move those guys around however you like. I am taking the chance that he steps up with a new quarterback, fully integrated in the new coach's system, second year now rule. So I like his chances of upside here. And so that's why I did bump him a little higher within the tier.
All right. And then Ben's not here right now, but I'm interested. He's got T. Higgins at 12. And Justin has him at 24. I have him at 27. Josh, you have him at 26. Rich has him at 49. But Matt has him at 17. Ben has him at 12. So they must have a little thing going on for T. Higgins. So why do you think that T. Higgins isn't worthy of being a wide receiver 1, Josh?
I do like Jamar Chase. Now, I have Jamar Chase at 18. Again, that reflects my 18-month window probably more than anything. 18 for 18 months. I just like we also have the problem of Burrow coming back here this season. This is going to be a building year. We're going to see it established, and you're going to go into next year. So this is a place to make profit if you want to place a bet, But I don't really like placing bets with wide receivers too much, at least not these top guys. So I would rather not pay at this what I think is Jamar Chase's ceiling.
No, I'm talking about Higgins. Higgins.
But when it comes to Higgins, because he affects Higgins,
right.
I do think going forward, Higgins. I'm probably on the wrong side of this debate, but I have the feeling that Higgins might be the odd man out and who loses the most if Chase breaks out and hits. Because I feel like Boyd, his role is the most stable one. Like, he's going to keep getting his kind of slot work that he gets. And I feel like Higgins might be the odd man out, kind of like Gallup was last year.
I think me and Ben need to do a Higgins versus McLaurin bathroom board bet. So I know Ben's got McLaurin at 16. I have him at 9. Ben's got Higgins at 12. I have him at 27. So I think that's what we're going to need to do, McLaurin versus Higgins. All right, we got to move on to tight ends real quick so we can wrap this thing up. The tight ends, we don't want to talk about them, but we have to talk about it, right? Rich, I'll let you talk about your boy. Well, why don't you, Joshua? Oh, I'm sorry, I don't speak for you. You might love tight ends. Tight ends bore me.
Tight ends win leagues, so I want to talk about it because I want people to win their league.
Man, I guess I've gone from the Cowboys having Jason Witten just consistent. I haven't had to worry about tight ends for so long. They kind of just became an afterthought. But I'll read the top 12: Kelsey, Waller, Kittle, Pitts, Andrews, Hawkinson, Fant, Goddard, Henry, Ingram, Gesicki, and John. Which is interesting that Evan Ingram's still at 10. That guy, it just goes to show you there's really not too much going on up there at tight end once you get past I think Fant. Fant is right where there's a pretty significant cliff. All right. Darren Waller. What did Waller do to John? Rich, why don't you sell us on your guy, Darren Waller? Go ahead.
I would say that I didn't need to make a phone call, but since you're on here, I don't need to make a phone call like Josh did. Look, man, it was phenomenal last year. Look, yeah, Kelsey's a stud and everything and stuff like that, but he's at the tail end. He maybe got another 2 years left in him. Waller is that next 5-7 year tight end that is going to constantly produce as long as the Raiders are always in the situation that they're in. Look, I love my Raiders, but they're always in games where they're throwing, and you saw it last year. Everybody knew the ball where the ball was going, and you cannot stop him. I mean, he's just that dominant, just like Kelsey was. It is and stuff like that. He's just that dominant. And if the receivers that they have right now improve 50% and stuff like that, eventually it's gonna make everybody have to defend more elsewhere, and he's just gonna feed in that middle all day long.
I like Waller in redraft. I like him a lot, and I still like him. I have him at 5, but I don't know. I think that I think teams are going to focus on him a lot more this year, and I would think that they really don't have much else going on offense outside of Darren Waller. They have a bunch of guys at wide receiver. They don't really have an identity on the ground. We thought it was Josh Jacobs, but I think a lot of defensive coordinators are going to go into this season focusing on removing Darren Waller from the Las Vegas Raiders game plan. But I still think he's going to succeed, but I don't think he's going to be as successful. And I do think that TJ Hawkinson is going to take a step. And I needed to drop somebody a little bit to get him into the top 5. And then Kyle Pitts with the Falcons are trying to make him be the next Julio Jones in the offense. I had to put him into the top 5. So Darren Waller is the one that suffered. I mean, I even got Kittle at 4. So both of those guys, and Kittle, man, I'm afraid of Kittle. I think that guy, he plays the game so damn physically. Last year I was selling him before the season, and I'm lucky I did because he didn't make it through the season. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't make it through this season. He's injury waiting to happen. But I don't think Darren Waller is that case, but I do think that defense coordinators are going to focus on him. Joshua, you look like you're chomping at the bit. Go ahead.
I'm just laughing over here, putting him behind Hawkinson. I like Hawkinson. He was my guy last year, telling you all you should have been drafting him around this range in the double-digit rounds. But my goodness, like what's Hawkinson gonna do? Get Darren Waller volume? Well, Darren Waller already has it. So I don't know.
Hawkinson's only 24 years old too. Darren Waller's going to be 29. I think
Darren Waller's going to be 29. He has 2 years on Kelsey. So just to what he was saying about that. And he also basically he has 2 less years of like NFL playing age too, because he kind of got a late start, personal life. It was a wide receiver earlier in his career and everything, switched over to tight end. So he's already like 2 years behind. Now, age is age, but at the same time, he doesn't have necessarily all the wear and tear that everybody else has. He doesn't have that injury history. He doesn't have any of this. So I'm not really worried about him, especially with my window. But even if I'm thinking a 3-year window, he's going to make it up to where Kelsey is. And
I don't think that's guaranteed. So. I think Kelsey's lucky to have made it to where he is. You know what I mean?
True, it's lucky, but it's lucky that he's made it to where he is at the level he is.
Right.
But there's been plenty of very good top 12 tight ends who maintain that into later age. That is a consistent tight end, characteristic, that the good tight ends last longer. Actually, you talked about Witten earlier. We've got like Jared Cook still trying to kick it in LA. I mean, we got Jared a lot Cook's of these older tight ends.
Jared Cook is average. Witten was. They shouldn't be in the same sentence. Jared Cook and Jason Witten.
He was still putting up top 12 seasons. I wasn't saying to the same degree. I'm just talking about the age concern you had. Right. He's not. I agree. He's not the same talent. But Waller, he has that talent, and that position can continue later in age. So
he's still top 5. So, all right. Any other tight ends on here? Trying to see. So Rich isn't high on Hawkinson. Rich has him at 11. So Rich, why don't you tell us why you have Hawkinson so low?
Golf going there. I just don't like the offense and everything. I want to see what kind of offense. We don't even know what kind of offense it's going to look like and everything. Yeah.
They have a coach who was a tight end. Dan Campbell was a tight end, so that he might try to get Hawkinson involved.
Yeah, look, 11. Look, he's top 10, top 11. They're all right there. I mean, look, besides the top 3 that we always talk about. Look, I understand why you guys think Hawkinson's going to make that case and stuff, and he might and everything. But on the same token, it's the Lions, and golf is there, and I can't move him any higher than that. I like Fant way better than I like Hawkinson and everything. So
I like Fant too. I have Fant at 6, but I think I'm a little more worried about Locke than I am. And also with Fant, he does have Judy, he does have Sutton, whereas Hawkinson, there's really not much there currently. Now, Evan Ingram, Do we think he's final? I can't give up on Evan Ingram. I have him practically everywhere just because I feel like the value, wherever I get him in drafts, it's always like just the value is tremendous for the potential, you know? And it's just been potential for the past few seasons. Joshua, do we think Evan Ingram is finally going to put it together and have, a solid fantasy football season?
It's not a fluke when a tight end consistently gets a 20% target share. And I know he hasn't done as much with it as we had liked him to. Hasn't just gotten touchdowns like one last year. I
Untimely
think the
drops.
improvements, the improvements they made to that offense are going to actually help him, I think.
Yeah.
So that he has nowhere to go up from his market value right now.
Yep, I like it. I like it. So, is there anything else in here as far as tight ends go that you guys want to discuss before we wrap this episode up?
How old do you guys think Austin Hooper is? Like, do you think he's 29 or what's?
I would say Austin Hooper is like 27, going on 28. Am I
He's
right?
like 25.
Is he really?
He's way younger than everyone thinks. He was one of these young guys coming in to
26.
the league. He was like the Irv Smith, kind of Jonnu Smith. He was one of these young guys coming in. He's been around. He might be 20, going on 26 this season.
No, he's 26. He'll be 27 October 29th.
Okay. So I think he looked really good when he was healthy. Last year, he was getting on the same page with Baker. That offense is ascending. Baker's ascending. Baker likes throwing it to the tight end, I think, and Hooper. So he's, to me, a sneaky guy. If you just need someone on the back end, you couldn't get him on the top one.
Yeah, I like him too. But the thing that factors, I got him at 14. But Bryant, that rookie tight end from last year, he showed some real potential when he was in there. And it's gonna be like, you still got Njoku there. Maybe he don't do much, but man, they got
Harrison Bryant.
Yeah, Harrison Bryant, but they got Njoku there too, and stuff like that. It's a crowded receiving room with the tight ends and everything. And like I said, Harrison Bryant, he looked real solid last year when he was in there. I mean, he had like 2 games where he had like 2-3 touchdowns in those games and stuff like that. They're not gonna ignore that and stuff, so he's gonna get his fair share.
Joshua's been beating that Austin Hooper drum since last year. He even had me buying him a little bit, so at least we know he's consistent. You like
the year before that, and the year before that. So, I have Harrison Bryant is like 22 here. I like him too, but when you look at like those were the games where Hooper was out and injured. Once Hooper was healthy, he immediately established himself and was immediately getting those started on Baker.
All right, another one. We have Cole Kmet. We have as high. Justin has him at 9. I have him at 12. Josh, you have him at 23. So that's an interesting one. But I'm going to wrap this episode up. FusionFFB.com. That's where you'll find our rankings. Go on there. In the comments, let us know who we were right about, who we were wrong about. Go ahead and blast people. DM me. If you bribe me, I'll give you Nate's phone number. You could call Nate. Heck, bribe me. Everybody on Toilets and Titles, their phone numbers are available. Hit me up. I'll give you their phone number if the price is right, and you can call them and let them know how wrong they are, right? And that's tell them I sent you. You can even tell them I sent you. I do not mind that. Next week, I'm thinking we're going to be doing our redraft rankings, so that's going to be a little bit different. We're going to follow that up with the redraft mock draft. Do want to let you know that 2 weeks ago we did a Dynasty startup mock draft. We used some of our rankings. Some of us, we'd never rankings finished yet, but it's kind of there. So you can have that to go alongside previewing these rankings. And hopefully these help you if you're doing any startups, if you're doing any trades, if you're trying to buy guys, whatever, because for the most part, rookie drafts are over. So now it's time to start valuing your team and seeing what moves you need to make, what players would look good on your roster, and what players you should be getting rid of. So that does it for this week's episode. Before we cut out, I want to let everybody know today's episode is brought to you by Primetime Sports Talk, your top source for all major sports content, including DFS, fantasy advice, and great gambling tips. Be sure to head to primetimesportstalk.com to check out their in-depth analysis, exclusive articles, fascinating interviews, and explore the rest of their amazing podcast family. Again, primetimesportstalk.com, your go-to spot for sports content. With me this week was Rich Gonzalez at R Gonzalez RM, the Frito Bandito himself, who came in right off the ship, right after, freezing those alien bodies out there in the desert. And you might not get that if you're listening to this over Apple Podcasts or Podbean, but if you're watching on YouTube and you see where he was located, you kind of would get that vibe too. I think so. And also with us is the mastermind of FusionFFB.com, Joshua Bigby at generally_aware. Again, FusionFFB.com. The Dynasty rankings are there. The redraft rankings are going to be there. Joshua, we appreciate you letting us put the rankings on there. We appreciate your help. We appreciate this team we've kind of put together and being able to work with you for the past 2 years. Thanks for coming on tonight, man.
Thanks for having me. Have a good night, guys.
No sweat. Josh, do you have anything else you're working on that you want to kind of pitch before we cut out?
No, just keep checking that site. I'm plugging out the shows here and there, trying to get more videos out there, so you can find my YouTube out there pretty easily, or link it on through the site. So check it out. Got some fun debates out there if you want to talk about Etienne and Bateman lately. But
hell yeah, man. Awesome. So go check out at generally_aware at FusionFFB. Rich, before I let you go, you have anything you'd like to say to the Toilets to Title community?
Nah, just your friendly neighborhood Frito Bandito. I'm going to end it like this.
Showing the Raiders. Rich, man, we're meeting up. Actually, all of us are going to be at the Fantasy Football Expo. All three of us. So it's going to be a riot out there. Rich, I'm telling you, man, I got those Zappos upstairs. I got Zappos with what are they called? The NOLA ones, the Voodoo ones. So you got to come out. You got to shock me with some of these flavors that you're bringing out, man. Don't bring like the basic stuff. You got to bring the heat, stuff I've never seen before.
Every time you buy that stuff, you're taking away from my 401k. So thank you very much.
My wife and kids are out of town today, so I went to this week. So I went to the grocery store. I got some frozen fruit for my protein shakes. I got some coconut milk. I got 2 things of cookies to heat up in the oven, gluten-free cookies. I got a big bag of chips. And it was like the only one in there, man. So I'm sorry. I didn't think of it like that. But going forward, I won't do that, man. I won't take food off your family's plate just so I can put food on my plate. You know what I mean? Those chips. But all right, we are rambling. Everybody, go ahead. I'm sorry, Rich. What was that?
I got to go take those Air Force Ones back since you're not supporting the cause.
Yeah. All right. Everybody hit the like and subscribe button. We appreciate you. Throw us a 5-star review. Check out our Frankenstein League. Get in there. Come play with us. We will catch you all later. Enjoy your weekend. Take care.